Hey folks, today I want to talk to you about the differences between film grain and digital noise and put a case forward for using the lowest ISO you possibly can in every situation. Hey folks, please take a moment to jump over to mattgranger.com. You can sign up to the mailing list and get my free guide to improving your portraiture and check out all of my download series, including Take Control of the Light with Tina. Now, first of all, I don't want to suggest that the way I shoot is the way everyone should shoot. Everyone has different opinions and, there are just certain situations that require higher levels of ISO. If you're shooting in a situation where you just don't have the option to add light, you don't have the option to move subjects around, you want to get a sharp shot, so there's a minimum shutter speed you need, and your aperture only has, you can only shoot at 2.8, then there'll be times where to get the shot, you just have to go to a higher ISO. I appreciate that, and I do the same when I'm shooting around the world at festivals or at nighttime. You just sometimes have to suck it up and make it happen. Of course, a compelling subject is more important than the cleanest resulting file. But something I wanted to clear up today is that film grain and digital noise are not the same thing. They're not comparable in a direct way, and you shouldn't think of them as being the same. So when you looked at a piece of 35mm film back in the day, get out a little loop, look at it close up, you could actually see the grain pattern because film was made up of individual little particles, or is made up of that. Like silver halide, little tiny fragments of it. If you had a really low ASA speed film, like say 50 Fuji Velvia, the individual little particles were absolutely tiny, and it gave an extremely detailed and fine and smooth, in terms of transition, stock. And if you were trying to make an analogy to digital, you would say that that had loads of really tiny pixels, for example. Then if you went to like a 3200 ASA stock, say a black and white street photography stock, you could almost see the different particles with the bare eye, because each of those photo sites essentially needed to be bigger to capture more light, to be more sensitive to light. Now, the thing about film grain was it was recognizable and repeatable. So a film expert could look at something and say, well, this looks like Agfa 400, this looks like Kodak 800, this looks like Fuji 50. And if you get 1,000 different rolls of film, the film stock across each of them in the same family is going to be identifiable and repeatable, in that you look at 10 different Fuji Velvias and the stock and the grain pattern is going to be the same because they're manufactured that way. So when people say, I love the grain of X type of film, that makes sense. You could actually recognize it, and between 100 different shots, it would be almost identical. However, digital noise that appears when you go up through the ISOs on your camera is not the same. It's not resulting from the layout of pixels on your sensor. It's signal noise, essentially. So if you ever had an analog TV and you turn it off and you get the shh because it can't get a signal, that's basically what you're getting with digital. It's an interference pattern, and it's random and it's not repeatable. And if you look at all different images, it'll be different in different ones. Sometimes you'll get banding, sometimes you'll get all different things going on. Now, I realize me saying that you should shoot at your lowest ISO possible in every situation will grate with some people, because I regularly hear from people that they intentionally shoot at, say, 12,000 ISO because they like the grain, or they mean the noise, and that it gives kind of a gritty feel to it. What I want to argue is that is basically a degradation of your image. If you like that grainy, speckledy, harsh kind of look, fine, you can shoot it in 100 and then make a filter and apply it to it to get that kind of a result. It's not terribly difficult. I sell presets myself. Some of them have a kind of a grain applied to them. But if you shoot it up at 12,000, apart from the noise pattern you're getting on the image, you're also degrading your tonal range and you're degrading your color range. You're introducing all kinds of different degradations to the overall image that you can't get back. if you shoot it as clean as possible down at the base ISO, you can apply all of those different effects and degradations to the image to get the final image that you want. But if you decided you actually wanted to use it with the maximum potential detail, color, and tone that the camera could produce, having shot it down there, you have that avenue open to you also. So I would argue, yes, your subject is the most important. The second most important is getting the shot, and sometimes you have to use settings that aren't ideal. I would love on my D810 to be down at ISO 64 at all times, but it's just not possible. But where once you've worked out how to get the shot and that it's a compelling subject and all of that, then shoot at the lowest possible ISO that will get you the result. Say you can't shoot at 100, the lowest you could shoot at is 3200, then shoot at 3200 instead of 6400 because you're still losing and throwing away a load of tone and color information going up that extra stop wherever you are in the spectrum. Please let me know your thoughts. I recently tested the Nikon D5 and found that up to ISO 6400 and around 8000, I'm personally comfortable with the results for print before I would want to be doing a lot of work to it. But having said that, I'll still go to 100,000 if it means the difference between getting the shot and not getting the shot. So let us know what you're shooting with and what your maximum ISOs are and for the kind of use that you're actually using it for. Leave me your thoughts. I hope that was of some help. I'll see you soon.